Well, it can seem like a shock, but we've got to think that Bristol's very lucky. We've got a multicultural community. We've had people from the African continent living here in Bristol since before 1970. So I think the fact is we've actually just not thought of looking for the issues, and it was actually women in the community as well as young people who came forward saying, this is a child protection issue. You talk about many other things. Why aren't you talking about this in our culture? We've got a group of women who have been actively working on this since about 2009, and we've got a group of young people which started off as a group of just 5 in a City Academy in Bristol, and they've now moved up to being a group of nearly 50 young girls, including some boys who've decided to join the campaign. And I think the strength of the fact that if they can step forward, I as a professional have a duty to step forward as well. In our culture, as white women, we don't talk much about our genital area. So for a culture where they have FGM, they don't talk about it either. So it's really difficult and challenging, and what we need to recognise when we do our training is we teach people what the normal genitalia is, and then we talk about what the changes are. And the World Health Organization recognise 4 changes. One of them is the piercing or removal of the clitoris, and then the most severe is actually the removal of the clitoris, the outside lips, the inner lips around the vagina, and stitching up that area just to leave a hole the size of a matchstick. And that hole is for urine flow, for menstrual flow, and you can actually still get pregnant through that little hole. It's got every angle to it. You've got the short-term pain, the anger and the despair of being held and having the procedure done, and then that may subside for a short while and they may start moving on with their lives, but then you've got the recurrent infections that you can get from urinary tract infections, and you can also get problems for menstrual flow when girls start their periods. But then you've got that psychological barrier that's always there. If someone comes to touch you in that area, you'll remember, you can have flashbacks. If when you have your first baby, pregnancy and delivery has its own challenges, and what you don't need are extra challenges of remembering something that was very traumatizing. The reason we have this launch campaign is this is a high risk period. Girls are at risk of either going back home or having it done in the UK. We've got no evidence, tangible evidence that it's going on, but anecdotally we're being told it happens. And so what we're trying to say is for people to be vigilant. If someone's going on holiday, it's great, they may be having a fantastic holiday, but if they're going on holiday and they come from a country where they practice FGM, then we need to be thinking about asking difficult and sensitive questions, but we've got a duty to do that to safeguard children. Bristol isn't a hotspot. We aren't somewhere where FGM is happening all the time, but what has happened is professionals and the community have come together to work in one voice of saying we won't accept this in our city, and we want to work to not accept this in our country. And we've got the young women who in Integrate Bristol, which is a charity, have actually developed a film. They've received national recognition, and along with the fact that they're developing a national conference to challenge professionals in their policy making around FGM, I think Bristol needs to stand proud, but also needs to stand and think about safeguarding and protecting their young girls.